Good evening and welcome to The Big Story. I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. The festive season brings not just good cheer but also a resounding uptick in demand in various segments. In fact, it's that time of the year when retailers bank on the high sales across sectors. This year is no different and hopes are pinned on consumer demand picking up after a muted year so far. But will higher prices lead to a more expensive festive season, and will inflation be a drag? This evening on The Big Story, we look at how Indians are spending and what is it that tops their list. Nilesh Gupta of Vijay Sales and Saubakir Sen of Senco Gold are both positive about the rise in demand in the electronics and gold categories.
I think this year the festive season is shaping up very well. There are two reasons for my being so optimistic. First is the Shraddh period, which just ended day before yesterday, was not as bad as it used to be. And in fact, this we have been seeing consistently year on year. So it clearly indicates that electronics is no longer a product which people feel it's something which we should not buy during the Shraddh period. It's become a necessity. Secondly, on 2nd October, it was the last Shraddh. And being a bank holiday, we saw a huge surge of consumers who came in the stores to purchase. And that also indicates that the consumer sentiment is good. And yesterday being the first Navratri was also a very good day. So overall, in a nutshell, it seems this year we will have a very good festive season, better than last year. And let me also impress upon one point that last year too was good. So we expect 7 to 10% growth over last year, and a 7 to 10% growth over a high base is an excellent growth, an excellent indicator of consumer positivity in buying.
In the last 15-20 days, the industry saw some amount of, I would say that, people waiting for the festive season to start. The Pitri Paksh was there. But considering that, we have Diwali, Dhanteras and the wedding season, I'm assuming that compared to last year, there will be an increase in terms of value of business for everyone, about 10 to 12%, because we have to keep it in mind that the gold prices have moved up considerably compared to last year as well. So yes, there could be impact in volume with the increase in prices, but overall we are expecting a 10 to 12% increase from last year.
And in fact, NDTV Profit's Tushardeep Singh also spoke to the BMW Group India President Vikram Pava and asked him about the demand outlook during the festive season.
Record year, that's for sure. I started the year by making that statement. I still stick by that. That will be a record year again with a good double-digit growth.
Okay. So no slowdown effects that is coming to you?
Well, there was, like I said earlier, I think in a few interviews, I've mentioned that there was a kind of a pause after the elections or during the election period, which normally happens. So that's not unusual, that's expected. But now with the festive season, we can see the pickup is absolutely happening. We've had great deliveries during Ganpati as well. And I think now with the Navratra starting, we can see the pace picking up even faster.
All right, now C.S. Vigneshwar, the president of the Federation of Automobile Dealers Association, is joining in this evening. Mr. Vigneshwar, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. And happy Navratras to you as well. Now, car sales, have been declining for the past 3 months despite heavy discounts being offered by automakers. So are you hopeful on an uptick in sales in the festive period?
Yeah, I just want to restate that there's no decline in car sales, but the pace has been slowing a little bit, the pace of growth. That's been happening for the last 3-4 months. And see, we are coming in from quite a protracted election, and then we had heat waves, we had floods after that. So there's a little bit of a dampening of demand from that point of view. We also last month had a very long Shraddh period, but however, during the Shraddh also we had enough inquiries, walk-ins come in. What's really heartening in the last 4 days when we've been touching base with our dealer partners and our members throughout India, there's been a fourfold increase in walk-ins. So, which is a fantastic news. We're also seeing that the bookings also go up three or fourfold, depending upon the brand and the regions of India. The next 45 days, which is going to be a festive season, would be fantastic because there are great customer offers. Probably it's one of the best times to buy vehicles because right now the great offers are on. It's never been there for the last 4 or 5 years where the demand was always very, very high compared to supply. Right now, the supply is very good. A customer can walk inside a showroom and probably pick up the color and the suffix of their choice. So offers are great. The new launches are coming in. Lots of new launches are being planned for the festive season, and the availability of cars also is nice.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you were mentioning that there are great discounts that are going to be offered in this festive season. So obviously, you know, a lot of these car makers will be looking at clearing some of that inventory, as you said, that there has been slower growth, perhaps not a decline as you want to put it. But what is it that buyers should be expecting?
The buyers can expect never before offers being given. But of course, this is a supply demand issue. Right now, the supply is quite high. The inventories are quite high. So it's a note of caution for the industry. But for the customers, it's great. I mean, the great offers are on. But however, the faster you go and get those vehicles, the better is for the customer because these discounts and offers are a factor of supply and demand. And once the demand goes up and the supply starts coming down, we'd also be seeing discounts also reduce. But however, there are enough cars, bikes, and trucks out there. So please go ahead and visit your dealer and make your choice.
Right, and quick word on the two-wheeler segment as well. What I wanted to know is that segment seems to be doing pretty well.
The two-wheeler segment has been coming from 2 years of quite low demand. Ever since COVID hit, there has been a very stark dip in demand in the last 3-4 years. Especially in the last 2 years, it's quite difficult. It is quite heartening and encouraging to see the demand really is going up. It is probably going back to its highest ever levels, which was around 2019. And even there, we have a lot of new product offerings. There are new fuel types which are coming out, alternative fuels to petrol. You have CNG, which is coming in. We also have a lot of EV offerings there in the scooter segments. So another important factor, which also I would like to highlight, is how rural India is doing in the two-wheeler segment. It's really doing well. It's really running the race faster than in the urban centers. That's where the next opportunity also is, and the two-wheelers companies, OEMs have seen this, and they are going to the rural areas to make sure that the rural customers' demands are met.
Absolutely, as you're pointing out, rural India is an indicator of overall growth as well. So, quick comment there on how cars are doing in rural India and any particular segment that seems to be doing well.
Overall, the mass segment, again, rural India is probably slightly inching ahead of urban India. But as you know that India lives in its villages. The kind of urban population we have is fantastic. They are yet to be tapped in terms of market potential. And now customers are increasingly demanding that even their rural areas, it could be a small town, a village, is also catered to by various segments of manufacturers. And a lot of four-wheeler passenger vehicle OEMs are responding to it by putting small showrooms and workshops in rural centers so that it satisfies the aspirations of our rural customers.
Right. Mr. Vignesh, we're also seeing a very interesting trend in terms of growth in the luxury segment. And there are a lot of people who are actually, we just heard a comment there come in, talking about the fact that there are a lot of people who are actually migrating to their first luxury vehicle. So how's that looking? And do you expect it to make bumper sales in this period?
we always hope that every segment makes a bumper sales, and the luxury segment today constitutes a very wide range of vehicles. There are certain parts of the luxury segment because of the pricing and smaller vehicles, more economical vehicles, that they're also appearing in the mass market high level mass market segments. So the luxury offerings are doing quite well. A lot of it is driven by demand, of course, but also the availability of finance. So longer EMIs also are helping luxury car segments do well.
All right, now in the numbers that have come in, we've seen M&M, Toyota and Kia, have had a marked growth, and largely this has been seen in the high demand in the SUV segment. Can you elaborate on that and tell us a bit more?
Increasingly, India and also the world markets are moving towards SUVs from sedans. Erstwhile, it used to be ruled by sedans, but SUV seems to be the thing which the customers want. Many advantages, of course. Space is one. The feeling of safety again is higher out there. The road clearances are better. You also have better visual out of the vehicles. So all these things are making SUVs more and more popular. And the companies who are quite strong with SUVs are also seeing naturally stronger growth. So that's where you have the stronger SUV products keep doing well in India.
All right, Mr. Vigneshwar, thank you very much for taking out the time and talking to us on the big story. So we are, of course, hoping for a bumper sale period for automobiles during this festive season. All right, now as Navratri marks the start of the festive season, people across the country are out buying new clothes, sweets and decorations. And NDTV Profit's Yash Tiwari gets you a ground report from the heart of Mumbai.
Navratri is all about Goddess Durga, and prayers are incomplete without flowers. The Dadar flower market witnessed brisk sales, and vendors say that sales are higher this time than last year.
ज़्यादा नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी ठीक है, एवरेज रहेगा, उतना ज़्यादा भी नहीं है. पिछले लॉकडाउन के बाद से तो बिल्कुल उतना ज़्यादा बिजनेस होता नहीं है. ऑलमोस्ट 50% ही बिजनेस होता है फ्रेश फ्लावर.
But thanks to good monsoon, flower supply is in surplus, which has made the prices drop. But vendors are not too concerned about this.
मार्केट इस बार से मीडियम में, ना ऊपर है ना नीचे, क्योंकि बीच में बारिश हुआ, इसके कारण अभी नवरात्रि में माल चालू हो गया सबका. मार्केट में माल बहुत है, जो 200-250 रुपए किलो होना चाहिए, 100 रुपए 80 रुपए किलो आज बाजार में.
Dadar's flower sellers are not concerned about the threat from growing e-commerce sector, especially from quick commerce. They say the e-commerce platforms deal in flowers in a very small quantity, while Dadar sellers mainly deal in bulk. New type of hybrid flowers called cut flowers were also seen booming sales. What are Indian festivals without new clothes? In Dadar's garment market, the streets were packed with customers. It is the tradition to wear 9 different colors on 9 days of Navaratri, and shops are selling in tandem with the theme.
नवरात्रि के लिए जो रेगुलर होता है, नवरात्रि के 9 कलर्स की साड़ियाँ होती है, सब लेडीज़ को नवरात्रि के लिए 9 डिफरेंट कलर्स का ये लेना पड़ता है. देवी के लिए साड़ियाँ लेनी पड़ती हैं, देवियों के लिए ऐसे खंड का पीसेस होता है, ब्लाउज पीसेस जो खंड की घड़ी में होता है वो मैचिंग वैसे होता है. और रेडीमेड नौवारी साड़ियाँ लोग सब लेडीज़ पहनना चाहती हैं फेस्टिवल्स में, तो हम लोग रेडीमेड नौवारी साड़ी भी रेडी टू वेयर साड़ीज रखते हैं.
Customers at the market say they prefer buying from physical stores than buying it online. Inflation looms large over customers, and this festive season, by all data available, is set to be a costlier one.
Situation is different on ground as large crowds are out to buy for the festivities. Despite the rise of e-commerce, retail shopkeepers are optimistic about their sales for the next 9 days. With camera person Vivek Kamre, this is Yash Tiwari for NDTV Profit.
And joining us on this evening's big story is Kumar Rajagopalan. He is the CEO of Retailers Association of India. Good evening, Mr. Rajagopalan. Thank you very much for speaking to us on the big story. Of course, everybody is hopeful that it's going to be a good festive season, and it will bring good cheer to retailers as well. So what are your hopes of the number or the type of sales that you want to see in this season? Of course, The retail sector's growth has been pegged at a modest 2% in your August survey, so that wasn't looking too good.
Yeah, hi. Good evening and season's greetings to all of you. I think you said it right. Up to about August, the growth was anywhere from 2 to 3% to 4%, depending upon the month that we talk about. But we do believe that there is hope for retailers because this is definitely festive season. People want to come and shop normally. There is nothing in the market that says that they should not be shopping. Some of the things that were happening, and I believe that's one of the things that customers are doing, is that they have got alternative places to put their money in. They're definitely traveling quite a bit. Many customers have bought very large items like houses, cars, etc., for which they are paying EMIs. So that's kind of keeping them slightly wary of spending on discretionary products. But we will have to wait and watch.
Right, so you are saying that they are still spending money, but the areas where they're spending money are different now. It's more experience-based spending. So we have reports coming in that a lot of people are still spending a lot on traveling, on holidaying, on clothing, for instance. There's been a lot of focus on clothing. So is that something that you're picking up?
Yes, travel and buying houses, etc., was definitely on the anvil for many of the middle class consumers. I think when it comes to the bottom of the pyramid, the poorer consumers, they've been slightly worried because they are still trying to grapple with the inflation that hit them about a couple of years before. Although the inflation issues are not as big currently, but clothing has been a question mark because at times clothing is done well, but suddenly it seems to dip. It is seen as a discretionary item. However, we believe that from whatever we are hearing now from the market, from the start of Puja onwards, customers are now back to buying clothes. So we'll have to see where it goes.
All right, and in terms of categories, where do you see the big growth in this festive season? Obviously, perhaps food and groceries, QSR, jewelry is one thing that, usually picks up in terms of demand during the festive season.
Yes, Nupur. Actually, many consumers initially start off with wanting to buy their clothing, definitely, and then it is jewelry because jewelry is big for the season. People also start meeting each other, so eating out also happens quite a bit. So we'd expect that some of the restaurants should do better business as days goes by now. Plus, there's a whole lot of holidays in various parts of the country for people for Diwali. Again, that brings people to come in and meet with each other and then meet in common places like restaurants, etc. Travel, like we said, is definitely on the growth path. Later on, when Diwali happens, I think many people also start buying gifts for others. That's when the real surge happens, and people then start buying gifts, which includes homeware, various accessories, etc., for others. And that's the other part that we'd like to wait and watch. The question is whether customers are going to buy only for themselves, or are they going to feel nice and would they be spending money to gift others? This is what we had seen immediately after COVID, where customers were definitely buying for themselves, but they are feeling so good about the fact that they all kind of came out of this. They were also wanting to appreciate relationships they had. They bought a lot of gifts. So I'd hope that the need for buying gifts for each other also increases.
Oh yes, absolutely. As you pointed out, bespoke gifting was something of that saw a lot of growth in the past years. But Mr. Rajgopalan, how much of an issue is inflation? Because if you hear people talk, everybody's just got one complaint that things are so expensive. So do you see that dampening the festive season?
Well, the inflation has not been as great this year as it was definitely last year. And once prices have gone up, people would still feel the pinch for 1.5 to 2 years' time. So that is definitely there. I hope that it doesn't dampen the spirit. But if they have bought large items and there is EMIs getting cut from their money that they are taking home, then that could possibly keep them slightly away. I am also seeing other places where customers are spending. People are also putting more money into the markets. You can see that the markets are buzzing. And that would mean that there is some amount of money is going into SIPs and various other things that they do. So again, I mean, we'll have to see where customers are going to spend, but more importantly, how confident are they about their future? Because that's what makes them go and spend.
And one last question on consumer durables now. White goods are always on everybody's list. People keep waiting the whole year. There are, of course, a lot of sales also that we see during this period. What's your sense on that?
White goods, in many months, they've actually done well. It is also directly linked to occasions and introductions. For example, the summer season was very good for the white goods because of the fact that people are buying refrigerators, air conditioners, etc., and that made the business look good. Post that, I think there has been a couple of launches of new phones. Personal phones becomes a very big requirement for many, and that immediately increases businesses for the CDIT sellers, the consumer durables and information technology sellers, because now again iPhone 15, 16, now 16 is come. Samsung introduced their latest phones. So I think every time there are new phones that comes in, again there is some buzz in the market. People on the premium part of the segment are definitely spending. The question for us has always been what's going to happen to people in the middle. And that's what we'll have to see where it goes. But white goods can be a big gifting item too.
All right, Mr. Rajgopalan, thank you very much for taking out the time to speak to us on the big story this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, the Bank of America has also come out with a note about what they are expecting from this festive season. Here's Mahima with the report.
BOFA on festive demand, they sat with Datum Intelligence and they've come out with key details as to how festive trends will play out. They're expecting a sales growth of 23% YOY versus 16% last year. Now, spending in customers' mind is on the uprise, and 65% of online buyers indicate spending more. And 60% of users are set to spend more than 50K this year, which is much higher than that of last year. And around $12 billion gross merchandise value will be generated via online commerce platforms. And $1 billion out of this will be done through quick commerce. So what they're saying is that quick commerce players will drive growth, and festive spending done offline earlier may move towards the quick commerce side more this time. Now, in terms of festive trends, they expect strong momentum for Zomato, and this could be a good catalyst for Zomato as well. And in terms of festive trends, 3 waves are being observed. First one being users are curbing spending 2-3 months prior to the festive demand so that they can purchase more in festive season, and products are also being purchased on credit. Plus, users are willing to spend more on fear of missing out of offers as well as discounts. Now, in terms of consumption trends, what they're seeing is that consumers are spending more on discretionaries like travel as well as entertainment, and discretionary spending is coming at the cost of retail purchases is the common observation. And spending on restaurants have come down, and people are trying newer things in fashion when it comes to brands, as well as ticket sizes have changed overall in terms of fashion. In terms of sales trends, smartphones are seeing no longer the kind of traction that they used to, because the upgrade cycle has, the life cycle of a smartphone has now become longer. In terms of groceries, festive share will grow up to 13% versus 10%. Electronics also, pre-spending limits are strong in terms of festive demand, and quick commerce will dominate more than 50% of online grocery sales. And in terms of what categories will boost, well, it's the beauty and personal care, stationery, smartphones. In terms of fashion e-commerce, also fast delivery and limited selection will be on the focus. And in terms of the FMCG brand, growth via quick commerce, bigger SKU sizes will be seen growing. And in terms of kiranas, they'll be impacted by quick commerce as well as dark stores. And overall, of course, this is not from the BOFA report, but overall stocks that one can, keep an eye on in terms of festive demand trends, where jewelry stocks like Senco, Kalyan, Titan, PN Gadgil. In retail, we'll have stocks like Trent, Raymond, Brainbees, V-Mart, Ethos. In QSR, we'll have stocks like Sapphire, Devyani International, as well as Jubilant Foodworks. Snacks, we'll see Gopal Snacks, Bikaji. Paints will also be in focus. Hotels will also be in focus. Of course, airlines in terms of tools and travel will also be in focus. And stocks like EaseMyTrip, Thomas Cook could see some traction. Lastly, even autos will see some kind of uptick in terms of vehicle sales. And consumer durables like Voltas, Blue Star, and EMS like EPAC, Sirma, and Dixon could also see a lot of traction when it comes to festive sales.
Well, Pujo is a festival deeply cherished in Bengal and is usually marked by vibrant celebrations and bustling markets. However, this year, ground reports indicate a stark contrast in consumer behavior. Despite the grandeur of the festivities, sales have remained unusually slow, with only Sundays showing any uptick in footfall. Local businesses typically flourishing during the period are facing lower than expected revenue, raising concerns about an economic strain in the region. And NDTV Saurabh Gupta got us this ground report.
Well, concern over the Pujo economy in Kolkata, given the fact that usually by this time Puja sales have picked up, and the shopping that people do during the pujas in West Bengal is a major contributor to West Bengal's GDP as well. This year there have been concerns. The cloud of the RG Kar protests and also floods across the state have led to somewhat of a dip in sales. Though it has picked up in the last few days, the loss in sales is something that shopkeepers in Kolkata are worried about. We are at the Goriahat area, which is a major market area. And of course, crowds also are thinner. And this area is one area that sees a lot of crowds for shopping. Some people still coming in early in the morning to perhaps get their hands on what they want to buy. But obviously, this is something that affects the market here. That is a concern for those watching the Bengal economy and for the shopkeepers who sell their products in larger quantities during the Pujo shopping season. Now, the larger brands, the larger businesses often can manage, but it is the smaller businesses that make profits for the Pujo shopping that people do, from the Puja shopping that people do, and this time around they definitely are worried.
इम्प्रूवमेंट बोल के जो हॉलीडेज़ होता है या फिर शनिचर या फिर इतवार को रविवार को जब बाज़ार होता है वैसे ही थोड़ा उस दिन ठीक है. नॉर्मल डेज़ में बहुत बाज़ार ख़राब है. अगला साल से हम लोग का 30% सेल डाउन है. 30% सेल डाउन है. कस्टमर आ नहीं पा रहा है. जहाँ से बाहर से कस्टमर आता था, जमशेदपुर, हुगली, वहाँ से जब कस्टमर आता था वो कस्टमर इधर आ नहीं पा रहा है. कुछ कारण से अटक जा रहे हैं, आ नहीं पा रहे हैं. जब आ रहा है तब सामने से लेकर चल जा रहा है. इधर पे पूरा गरियाट नहीं आ पा रहा है. ऐसा ही होता है.
Well, on that note, it is a wrap on the big story. Thank you very much for joining in, but do stay with us on NDTV Profit for more.